Many years ago, when I had just started high school, my family and I moved to a small, quiet town. The narrow streets, the trees lining the sidewalks, and the stone-walled houses bearing traces of the past made it feel as though time stood still. The house we moved into was a bit outside of town, near a wooded road, an old building with moss-covered brown roof tiles and a long front yard stretching out in front of it. In the left corner of that yard stood a dilapidated shack the townspeople called the Uncanny shack. From the outside, it looked so forgotten, so abandoned, that it seemed no one dared go near it. During my first few days there, no one directly told me anything. But from the way people looked at me, I could tell there were some unsettling rumors circulating about that shack. Some said the former owners disappeared under mysterious circumstances, while others whispered, "Strange shadows are seen at night." Although nobody spoke openly, it seemed like the townspeople were wary of approaching it. As I started making friends in my new school, I got close to a girl named Ela. Like me, she was curious and loved to explore. Every time we passed by the shack, our eyes would drift toward it, as though we were being silently called by some invisible force. Over the days, the ordinary happenings of the town stopped satisfying our curiosity. And one evening, Ela and I looked at each other and voiced the same thought. Should we go inside? Once that idea took hold, there wasn't much left to stop us. Maybe it was our youth. Maybe our curiosity outweighed our fear. As the sun began to set behind the hills, we slipped into the backyard and approached the shack. The wooden door bore the marks of time, its paint peeled, hinges rusted. The moment I touched the door, a strange shiver ran through me, as if there was some kind of darkness waiting on the other side. Ela gently pushed it open, and the creaking sound of the old wood echoed inside, turning into a deep moan. The interior was bigger than I'd expected, filled with dust, cobwebs, and rusty tools scattered about. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, swaying gently, and the weak daylight streaming in revealed motes of dust shimmering in the air. Each step we took made the old wooden floor groan, and it set our hearts racing. The air inside felt cold and oppressively heavy, not a normal kind of cold, but one that crept under your skin, touching your very core. I could see in Ela's eyes that she felt it too. Suddenly, from somewhere in a dark corner of the shack, I heard a faint rustling. I turned but saw nothing, maybe just a flicker of a shadow, as if something was there, barely visible. Toward the back of the shack, we noticed an old staircase. We guessed it led to a small basement or storage area. Peering over the edge, we saw nothing but inky darkness below. Ela turned on the weak flashlight on her phone to try and see, but the steps descended into a place so dark it swallowed the light. As we moved down a few steps, the narrow passage felt like it was pulling us into an unknown depth. The walls were damp, and the silence was so dense we could hear our own hearts pounding. Just as we were about to turn back, Ela suddenly let out a shriek. It was so piercing my ears rang. In that same moment, the air in the tunnel shifted. It was as if a bone-chilling gust of wind swept through. I grabbed Ela by the arm and tried to pull her back upstairs. Our feet stumbled on the steps in our panic. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw a dark shape moving deeper in the tunnel. It wasn't a clear silhouette, but there was definitely something shifting, seemingly flowing toward us. My heart hammered, my mind screamed, "Run!" We finally climbed back into the shack, but the atmosphere inside had changed. It felt more stifling, darker. As we rushed for the door, I saw Ela's face had gone white with terror. She was breathing hard. My own body was ice cold, yet I also felt this dread, like something was following us. We stumbled out the door, gasping for air, as if we'd been underwater for too long. We dropped to our knees, coughing, trembling. Night had fully settled in. The moon was faint behind a haze. Even as a light breeze stirred the tree branches, the fear we felt inside that shack lingered. I glanced back one more time. A shadow seemed to flicker in the dark entrance. Am I imagining this? I wondered. But Ela was staring at the same spot, her eyes mirroring my own terror. Sleep was impossible that night. Though we each returned to our homes, we found no comfort. The moment my head hit the pillow, all I could think about was that claustrophobic basement, the oppressive darkness. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt my heart pounding, my thoughts racing. Ela confided in me the next day, speaking in hushed tones about the strange sounds she kept hearing, like a faint rustle, and how she would wake up feeling like she couldn't breathe. We decided not to tell any